There's not a. I think that, and I really just realized that today it's like we talk about everything. We talk about gay sex. We talk about straight sex. We talk about and we have this conversation about everything. There is nothing off limits. We are very transparent in that space. Because if there's some kind of something that shows up and say, wow, you're really being a bitch. So we have that conversation about it. And we don't take it personal. Because if we do, we make a joke and it becomes very funny because it's like, me and Marco love to try to make them. We try to embarrass them and then they come back with something straight, something.
We're like, what?
You don't do no good, so. But it's being in that space with yourself and it's looking at yourself. It's like, man, part of you has a straight side and part of you has a gay side. Because I don't know too many gay men that don't like boobs. They like looking at boobs. I know more gay guys that love looking at boobs. Because it's a natural, it's built in. It's a part of our inner being. Because it's built into us. That's how we get nurtured. When we're babies, we suck on the tit. It's a natural experience. It's not saying that we get turned on by it. It's like, wow, we have this thing. And most women like, oh, you're gay, look.
Like,
they always want to touch it. It's like the most weirdest thing. It's like, why do I want to touch your boob? But it's in that space that happens. It's a natural thing. It's our evolution. But we have it inside us, and that's the conflict, or the light and the dark, the thing that happens, and we move and we dance and we expand ourselves. And once we get into that place and say, wait a minute, I don't have to be gay or straight. I don't have to be black or white. I don't have to be anything. All I have to do is show up and be my own self. And just be me. I have so many people that just show up and they're like, oh my God, I bet you are a blast to be around it. Yeah, because I just show up and be me. And if you can't accept me, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. And I'll allow you to be where you are. And I don't force my belief system. I don't try to change your mind about being anything other than you. And the more I am with me, and it's like, my family, I've never really came out to my family. They just accept, well, it's Shannon. But if you talk to them, they all know that's who I am. I don't show up and be anything other than me. What else? Ego is the one that runs around and says, oh my God, you got to run out there and tell the whole world that I'm gay. No, you don't. You just got to be you and do you and be happy with you. You don't have to run out there. Because gay men get their gaydar and they know who you are.
Yeah.
They know. They know. Any question? Anything? I was like, man, I'm like, high right now.
So, I'm having a situation with a friend, so I'm trying to figure out where I draw the line between, loving my friend and accepting her, but recognizing that she continually makes horrible decisions in her life.
In your life?
Say again?
Your life? Or
in her life.
Her life.
She makes horrible decisions, and I've watched this for 18, 20 years.
Right.
And she now has a small child, and her decisions are not just impacting her, they're impacting the child. And so I'm having a very difficult time. I don't want to be judgy, right? I'm nothing that I feel or say to her. I'm not trying to put her down, but I'm trying to make her recognize that there's better decisions that she can.
But ego says that you need to fix her. Ego says that she's broke. Soul says she's having an experiencing and she's having a spiritual growth. Even the child, because even in the spirit world, when you take away something, or you're judging something. You may be taking away that soul's path. They needed to come in to have that. But if we sit back and say, wow, I'm just going to love you, what is it that you need from me? I have somebody right now that's out there in la la land, really, really bad. My ego says I need to go and kick their ass and put them in rehab. But my soul says, wait a minute, they haven't hit rock bottom. They're not to that place. That will tell you when it's time. It's only in your mind that says, wow, I love them so much, and I know they're flopping, and I know they're just having this. But you know, they have choices. They have to have choices. The soul will say, wow, aren't they having a beautiful experience? Ego says, wow, they're not doing it the way I would do it. And that's hard. That's the hard thing when you sit back and watch somebody flop and is in turmoil and you know there's a better path.
But what's bothering me so much is that her flopping and her turmoil is impacting the little girl. And it's making me crazy.
But at a soul level, that little girl chose that. You might be taking away that child's soul path by trying to make it something different. And you, as a soul, is probably understanding, wait a minute, I'm seeing this person as broken, damaged. Now, what if I see this person as whole and complete? And they're having this beautiful experience. How is it affecting me? Because it's you. There's some part of you that's dancing with it. It's you that's getting the charge. There's a charge that you get. And you have to look at yourself. Where in my past, or what in my past is giving me that charge? And that's a big one. That's huge. To sit back and honor somebody for their path, their experience. It's theirs. Because I, as a shaman, when I work with someone, I have to ask if it's appropriate at this time to remove or move something or change that energy or move something. Because I can't take away his experience. He could be having pneumonia or something, and that's part of his soul advancement, is to have that illness. And I go in and say, damn it, you're not going to be sick. I'm taking that from you. Guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to have to dance with it. I take responsibility for it. So if you want to take responsibility for somebody else's journey, Spirit's more than welcome to allow you to do that. But I guarantee you, you're going to have some weird ass shit start showing up in your life, and you're going to go, where in the hell did that come from? I didn't, why, I'm not, yes you are. You're pulling it to you. Ego says, ooh, I got to fix her. She's broken.
I got a question. I mean, I see what you're saying, like, you know, with a little girl and choosing from the spirit sense. But I would have, like, for me, wouldn't you say, unless that child's life is in direct danger and stuff, then to intervene, you know? I mean...
No, yeah, if it was in direct
like
danger, like
direct
danger, like...
where,
but her soul will come to you and say, wait, you got to do something. It's a different experience, and I will say this. Like when I have some kids at home right now that we just had to get CPS called and said, hey, you need to come get them. Because their mom is strung out on drugs and there's no food and there's no nothing like that. Okay? The soul came out and said, hey, we're done. We need rescued. We need help.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly that situation, but it's something kind of like that where the little girl really is in a little bit of danger. And I don't know how to make her wake the fuck up and realize
but let me tell you something. Something has to happen. Like this mom is going to spend 2 years in jail. She got 2 years. And now she got clean and sober in the last 2 weeks and going, oh fuck, what did I do? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm. But sometimes it takes that to make the soul open up. And sometimes you might have to take a drastic experience, or you might have to say, you know what, I can't watch you flop anymore, and I can't watch you hurt your child anymore. I'm going to pull my energy back. I'm going to love you from over here. And I can't do that.
What I've done.
And I can't. And sometimes it takes a lot of people to pull back. And that's why I say I'm having to watch somebody just go to the rock bottom. I mean, really bad, and they've pulled everybody now is away. And just waiting for the rock bottom, because sometimes they don't get it until they hit rock bottom. And if you go in and rescue them, what did you just do? They didn't make the bottom yet. They didn't get it yet. You took responsibility for it.
So you see somebody going downhill, and you just kind of back up and let them go.
No, I don't. Because
I'm thinking,
okay, is it appropriate?
You gotta grab your friend and say, look, honey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Don't you realize?
Yeah, but you're not taking responsibility for it. You're stepping in and saying, hey.
Yeah.
There is a difference. Soul will go in and give them the opportunity, and soul, you can ask soul, is it appropriate? Should I do this? Or is it at this time, is it time to step in? Sometimes you got to let them go down to the farthest point. And then they're ready to come. It's just like us all. Even in our experience of life, we had to go down to the bottom, and before we decided, wait, I don't choose to do this anymore. This ain't working for me.
Amen.
And I had to choose something different. But I don't care if you came in and did everything. Like I said, he can't make me happy. You can't fix her. You can't fix it until she's willing to get fixed. And that's the hardest damn thing you could do. Now, can you hold space for that child and ask that soul as itself, what is it needing? And you might have to call CPS. You might have to call somebody. You might have to do something that you might not be willing to do in any other way, but the soul will say, okay, enough is enough, and you might be the one that shakes the soul up, but you're not taking responsibility for her. You're going to shake the soul.
Might that in itself cause the hitting the rock bottom?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Within itself, it might. Saying, oh, wait a minute, I got to change something here. This ain't working.
What did you say? The who? What?
Maybe calling CPS would be the hitting the rock bottom.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, I totally get, like, you know, my ex, I feel like the same thing. You know, he grew up really religious. I was the first person he was with. And I know that even growing up, like, his parents were always, you know, don't be acting like such a faggot. And, you know, he's like 3 or 4 years old and he's getting in trouble. And so we dated and we broke up because he ended up, he was really judgmental with me, and I was like, all right, I understand, it's not, you know, he's like, you know, well, you're a sinner because of this and that and stuff, and I'm like, dude, okay.
What?
All right. You know, and how wrong I was for, you know, and how I listened to Satan and it was going to hell, and we broke up because he cheated on me, and, you know, so, and I've tried to kind of be there as a friend for him, and but I feel like he keeps going downward and tries to bring me with him, and I feel like, you know, like a couple of weeks ago he called me and he was talking about how he's just like hooking up with all these guys and letting guys just use him, and you know, it's like before he was like, you know, sex is a special thing between two people that love each other, and he was like, you know, he hooked up with this guy who asked him if he wanted to have a 3-way, and he said no. But while, you know, after the guy had sex with him, the friend shows up, so he let the guy fuck him too. And he's like telling me, like, over the weekend he had like unprotected sex with 7 different guys, and he's just like, you know, And it's like, to me, it's like, because I've seen that, like working at Fitness Exchange and stuff, and seeing how, but as much as I would like to help him, I can't do anything for him. I know that it's like, he needs to hit rock bottom, you know, and I know that his life is his life and mine is mine. And I mean, yeah, because it was somebody that I you know, I did love in that way before, and, you know, I still love, but it's hard for me to, you know, be a part of it when he expects me to, you know, and when I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? You know, and he gets mad at me for, I'm
But
like,
see,
I just,
ego, because ego says, oh my God, this is bad, this is bad and bad and bad. So ego will self-punish, and a lot of gay men or people that, gay men that cannot accept themselves for themselves and that they are, this is the way it is, but then they're trying not to because society says it's bad and it's this and this and this, so they can't be out and open and they can't be this way, you know, in the full society and just be themselves. They can't show up and be themselves. So ego says, oh, well, we'll just have multiple sex partners and punish ourselves. And that's a form of punishment, because I'm going to go in such a deep way with ego that it's like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to be this way, you know. So it goes in a whole, like self-sabotage. You can never have a monogamous relationship, so I'll just sleep with everybody. I can't be with one person in society, so why not just, it's like that little kid. Remember, what's the language? What I said, what is the language? Where's it coming from? And the ego will probably normally be about 5 or 6. And a 5 or 6-year-old says, I'm getting it in trouble anyway, why not do that?
but that's, I guess one of the things I see with, like, you know, in our society is here with the gays, lesbians, I guess, is much too, but my focus, I guess, is men. But that,
because we know men, that's
right.
So we think like a man, so that's
that, like, you know, like I see my ex in doing that, and I've also seen people how, you know, when it comes to the drinking, you know, the ego telling us how we're wrong and bad and stuff, and get into the drinking or the drugs, or, you know, and that's like so rampant in the gay life. I had clients that I used to personal train that were recovering alcoholics, and we had a friend that had fallen off the wagon, and so, like, one of the things he had said was, you know, because he came back and he's like, yeah, can you believe I did that? And my friend said, he's not done yet with his relapse. He's like, because it's kind of like he's glamorizing it. And that's how I felt with my ex, and him telling, yeah, you know, like, and his friend came over and he ended up fucking me without a condom, and you know, and then I, you know, all these guys, and I was just kind of like cool and stuff. And to me, it's like, I guess you expected that reaction, like, no way, oh my God, what are you doing, you know? And I'm like, and what ticked him off was, I'm like, look, you have to realize that the decisions you make are affecting your life. You know, they're not going to affect anybody else. They're not going to affect me. And that was what triggered him, like, just, I mean, he was like, and he gets mean when he gets upset. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I see with him. It's like, he's like glamorizing it right now. It's like, oh yeah, this was so wrong. I'm doing it now. And I'm like,
is it also because he can? You know, some guys just, they don't have it in them to do a whole bunch of partners. But if he's good looking enough and the guys are there and he can, that's his ego saying,
he is
oh,
good
yeah.
looking, but I don't think, I don't think that looks really have anything to do with having sex, though,
I
really.
do.
So, do you?
Oh yeah.
I think there's a type for every type, you know. I just think that, you know, I've seen guys that, you know, you're a handsome man. I don't know why you, I mean, if you're worried about you, or, but I think that sex is something that is not dependent on, I mean, I guess if I'm going to focus on a certain type and stuff, who goes for a certain type, and I'm not that type, then of course it's gonna be difficult. But I mean, I've seen, I don't know, I've just been exposed to a lot of gay men and stuff, working, you know, in the areas that I've worked in.
I guess what I'm saying is every time you mention ego and what the ego does,